Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Mogul Motivation. This is episode 329. I definitely appreciate it tuning in every single week. If this is your first time listening, this podcast is for the aspiring entrepreneur who is trying to get over that hump and make it happen. This podcast is for anybody with a dream that wants to strive forward and accomplish that dream. Today's date is January 19th, 2022, and this officially makes the eight-year anniversary of my grandmother's passing. My grandmother passed on this date, January 19th, 2014, and I've been on record saying that 2014 has been one of the most difficult years of my entire life, and that's one reason why 2014 was a difficult year, because my grandmother passed on this day, January 19th. And my grandmother, I love my grandmother. She was really the only grandparent that I was able to get close to. My grandfather was around, and he passed away as well years ago. But no shade to my grandfather, rest in peace. But my grandmother was my grandmother. She was the one who I was with majority of the time. She's the one that poured into me a lot. And even when I graduated from high school, I went through the college years, and then when I started my business, she was one of my biggest staunch supporters. For the last few years of her life, she was in a nursing home, and I would go visit her every single day, almost every day. I would go visit her, and she never hesitated to let the staff know, to let other residents know, to let other residents' families know that her grandson was a photographer, that her grandson had started his own business, and he was going to do great things and all of that. In fact, my very first wedding that I got booked to do was a CNA that worked at the nursing home where my grandmother lived at in the last years of her life. My grandmother supported me. She believed in my dreams. So when she passed away, it was a heavy blow, because number one, I loved her. She was my grandmother. But number two, because she was one of the few that really believed wholeheartedly that I would be successful, even at times when I didn't believe in myself. That was 2014. 2 years later, I started Mogul Motivation. We're actually just a little bit past the 6-year mark of me launching Mogul Motivation. The first episode, When versus If, was launched January 14th, 2016. And one thing that I'm proud of when it comes to Mogul Motivation is not the fact that I released an episode every single week and I remain consistent with it. It's not the fact that I grew a community of listeners and viewers that support the podcast. It's not the fact that I encourage others to go after their dreams and, to be inspired to do what they want to do. All of those things are great, and I'm blessed and I'm grateful for it. But that's not what I'm most proud of when it comes to Mogul Motivation. What I'm most proud of is my personal growth and the fact that I constantly evolve, and I'm able to see things from a different perspective, from a higher perspective than I could before. All of these episodes, sometimes I'll hit a single, sometimes I hit a double, sometimes I hit a triple, sometimes I will hit a home run. But there are some episodes where I didn't drive it home. I didn't cross home base. Yeah, I made great points, but I didn't take it a step further to where it needed to go. And that's what I mean when I'm most proud of my growth as a speaker, as a motivator. Episode 253 is titled Revenge is Profitable. When you get a chance, go back and listen to that episode. I talked about how I paid off a major debt that had been haunting me for a long time up until that point. And I paid it off. And it felt great. But not only did it feel great, it felt great because it was like a big knockout punch to something that was, hindering me and burdening me. And it was my revenge on an institution that had been trying to bring me down, right? That episode is like a precursor to what I want to talk about real briefly today. Today's episode is titled Trash Motivation 101. That's the subtitle that I'm giving Mogul Motivation 329. And what trash motivation is, ladies and gentlemen, you see, it's going to be a lot of people that are not going to believe in you. It's going to be a lot of people that are going to doubt what you're talking about. It's going to be a lot of people that are not going to have the same faith in what you have faith for. It's going to be a lot of people that truly don't believe that you can do what you say you are going to do. They're going to laugh at you. They're going to sneer at you. They're going to clown you behind your back. They're going to tell people, and they're going to tell you to your face, if they're bold enough, that it cannot be done and you are insane for thinking it. They're not going to be able to conceive or perceive the things that you do. It's going to be a lot of people that are not going to believe in you. It's going to be a lot of people that are going to laugh at you. It's going to be a lot of people that are going to write you off. It's going to be a lot of people like that. And it's going to be frustrating. It's going to be hurtful. It's going to make you angry. It's going to make you feel away, right? And I talked about some of these things in episode 253, revenge is profitable, but I didn't cross home base. You see, because when people don't believe in you, when people doubt you, you can use that as fuel to go harder, right? You know, a lot of rappers, you know, they be like, oh, my teacher said I ain't never gonna be shit. So now I'm gonna be shit. You know what I'm saying? That's good. Kinda. When people say you're not going to be able to do something and you use that as motivation to actually do it. You know, I actually been on record saying that, you know, if you quit, you're going to give all your doubters justice. Don't give them justice, give them hell by succeeding. I've been on record saying that. And that's cool. But I didn't cross home base by saying that. I didn't cross home base in Revenge is Profitable, episode 253, by saying those things. The point is, as long as you concede, as long as you use, people's doubts, people's reservations, the fact that people don't believe you, as long as you use that as motivation to strive for success in whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's entrepreneurship, dream chasing, it doesn't matter. As long as you use that basis as your drive and your motivation, it's still going to be trash. Because the fact that you're using people who don't believe in you as your motivation is still rooted in them. Your motivation for success is not for you, it's to prove them wrong. That's still trash. That's trash motivation. Don't use people's doubts and people's concerns and people's write-offs on your behalf as your motivation. With all due respect, fuck them and their doubts and their reservations and the fact that they don't believe in you. Don't use that as motivation. What you need to use as motivation to continue to go after success, to continue to build your business, to continue to accomplish your dreams. What you need to use for that motivation is yourself. Use yourself as the foundation for your motivation because you owe it to yourself. If you don't owe it to anybody else, you owe it to yourself. You owe it to your childhood self that you're going to accomplish everything that you said you are going to accomplish. It don't matter how many people doubt you. It don't matter how many people don't believe in you. It don't matter. As long as you believe in yourself, as long as you can find belief in yourself, that's enough motivation. That's all the motivation that you need. It don't matter about people who are feeding you trash, people who are feeding you doubts, people who tell you that it can't be done, people who are laughing at you. Don't use them as motivation because they are irrelevant. They don't matter regardless of what they say. What does matter is what you say to yourself. What does matter is what you tell yourself. What does matter is what you believe in your mind. What does matter is your faith. And what does matter is the people that believe in you. This is why 2014 was such a hard year for me, ladies and gentlemen, because my grandmother died on January 19th. She died. To this day, still don't know what the cause of death was. But she believed in me. She was one of the very few people who believed in me. It was so many family members. It was so many friends that I was surrounded by. It was so many negative things I was surrounded by in 2014. In fact, throughout most of the last decade that I was surrounded by that hampered and burdened my motivation in myself. And I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I'm going to succeed because they said I can't succeed. So therefore, I'm going to continue to go forward and I'm going to succeed. I'm going to accomplish everything that I said I'm going to do. And that's cool, but that's only hitting the single. That's only hitting the double. That's only hitting the triple. You might even hit a home run, but you still ain't crossing home base because it don't matter what they believe. What matters is what I believed. What matters is what my grandma believed. What matters is the few people that did believe in me believed. That's what mattered. And that's what you got to use as motivation. Trash motivation is where you continue to allow people who doubt you, people who hate you, people who dislike you, where you continue to allow them to be your motivation. Because as long as you allow them to be the source and the foundation of your motivation, they're still in the forefront of your mind. And they didn't forget about you. They ain't even thinking about you, but you still thinking about them. Every single day you thinking about them. Again, that's fine, but stop letting that trash be your motivation. And instead allow your treasure to be your motivation. Your treasure is your faith. Your treasure is your heart. Your treasure is your love and your passion for what you do and what you believe in. That needs to be the forefront of your motivation. That needs to be at the front of your mind at all times. Not what people who don't like you say. Not what people who don't believe in you say or do. Let them be in the back where the trash belongs. It's cool to allow that to be a little bit of it, but don't allow that to be the bulk of it. Don't allow that to be the driving force of what you do and why you do it. Succeed for yourself. Succeed for the people who believe in you. People like my grandma. People who love you. People who are in your corner. Your real MVPs, the most valuable people. Allow them and their love and the love from God to be your motivation. Don't allow trash people to be your motivation. So that's my message this morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let's continue to work. Let's continue to imagine reality. Trash motivation 101. Yeah, revenge is profitable. Yeah, if you quit, you're going to give the people who doubted you justice. But don't worry about giving them anything. You need to worry about giving yourself what you owe yourself and what you deserve. Stop allowing trash people to be your motivation and to be at the forefront of your mind. If this podcast has benefited you in any way, shape, or form, I ask for two things as always. Number one, leave a 5-star review. And number two, pass it on to a friend who may benefit from it as well. Have a great day, everyone. I'll talk to you next week.